Fee 308. Study Session 2. Relationship between the social sciences and the natural sciences. Introduction. In this lecture, we shall be looking at the relationship between the natural sciences and the social sciences. Some scholars in these areas of discourse have always emphasized aspects where the two disciplines differ, thereby paying less attention to those areas where they corroborate and share ideas. This lecture will not only show areas where the two disciplines differ, as well as areas where they converge. It will, in the process, also show how philosophy interrogates these two apparently discordant disciplines. Learning outcomes. At the end of this session, you will be able to distinguish the natural sciences from the social sciences, show the relationship between philosophy and the natural sciences, and lastly, show the relationship between philosophy and the social sciences. Science and the social sciences. Science is defined by Alan Chalmers as a collection of facts by means of careful observation and experiment, and the subsequent derivation of laws and theories from those facts by some kind of logical procedures. In strict conventional usage, the word science can be used to describe either the natural or pure sciences, the applied sciences or the social sciences. Natural science refers to those disciplines which make use of natural entities of the physical world as their object of study. It refers to the branch of human knowledge which attempts to study and understand these natural entities in order to be able to predict certain phenomena about our physical world. Ikoropo, 2001, pages 1 to 11. Examples of natural sciences are astronomy, biology, chemistry, earth sciences, and physics. Applied sciences refer to those disciplines dealing with the art of applying scientific knowledge to practical problems, such as medicine, architecture, engineering, and information technology. The social sciences refer to those disciplines that study human society and institutions, as well as the relationship of individual members within society. In other words, it is the science of social phenomena whose focus is the social aspect of human experience. It is the aspect of human knowledge which attempts to understand general human behavior in terms of his social, psychological, and perhaps his economic environment. In order to be able to describe and explain such behaviors, and as well as to also be able to predict such social phenomena, given certain conditions, such disciplines include sociology, psychology, anthropology, geography, economics, political science, and history. Science or natural philosophy, as it was then called, was formerly an aspect of philosophy until the Renaissance, when the enormous scientific knowledge produced facilitated the formation of science's own autonomy and distinct identity from philosophy. Derry, 1999, pages 9 to 10. Philosophy of science. According to Rudolf Carnap, one of the eminent philosophers of science in the 20th century, philosophy of science is the application of philosophical tools such as analysis, criticism, conceptualization to scientific matters. Carnap, 1967. Philosophy of science strives to evaluate scientific knowledge by investigating the logic and reasoning behind scientific activities and discoveries. Popper, 1957. In other words, philosophy of science is involved in the analysis and evaluation of science. For instance, philosophers of science have been concerned with the debate of the appropriate methodology to be used in carrying out scientific research. Besides the methodological issue, philosophers of science have also been interested in the utility and morality of scientific knowledge and projects, the evaluation of scientific results and products, all with a view to seeing whether or not such knowledge, projects, results, and products are in conflict with other important values. Philosophers of science are also interested in finding out the extent to which science can actually promote the welfare and civilization of humanity without adversely affecting the rights and interests of human beings and other species of nature. For instance, the philosopher of science would reflect on the issue of whether scientific ventures should be carried out to improve human lots, in spite of the recognition that such enterprise can adversely affect the environment and other means of survival of future generations and other beings inhabiting the ecosystem. These and many other concerns constitute the subject matter of what is called philosophy of science. Philosophy of the social sciences. The social science became a significant branch of intellectual study during the Enlightenment period. This is because it was an offshoot of the clamor for human interest and emancipation that characterized the new mode of thinking in the Enlightenment age. At its inception, the social science was greatly inspired by the logical positivist position that the empirical method affects a perfect and objective study of all phenomena, including the human person and the overall society in which he exists. Social science, therefore, developed as a result of this new tendency and the underlying presumption that the scientific tool is appropriate and adequate for every intellectual project. Philosophy of the social sciences, just like the philosophy of science, is how to study the various goals and methods of the social science, with the aim of evaluating whether the discipline is able to live up to the expectation of humanity. Philosophy of the social sciences ponders on certain issues inherited from the philosophy of natural science and also reflects on problems and issues generated by its own peculiar disciplinary orientation. For example, this area of philosophy reacts to the question of the appropriate methodology for the social scientific enterprise, which is an age-long problem in philosophy of natural science. As R.S. Rodner says, the philosopher of social science is ranged with the philosopher of science in that both focus their attention on problems of methodology. Rodner, 1966. Some of the central problems that philosophers of the social sciences address include 1. The extent to which one can say that human social life, which the social sciences claim to study, is or is not similar to non-human nature, which is studied by natural sciences. 2. The extent to which human and social experiences can be explainable by using the scientific method. 3. The extent to which the results and findings of the social sciences can be used to predict and control future occurrences in the social world in the same way in which findings in the natural sciences are used to predict and control occurrences in the natural world. 4. The extent to which the themes, logic, and the method of the social science are distinctively peculiar as basis for differentiating the social science from the humanities and for associating the social science with the natural science. And lastly, the extent to which we can reduce human actions to scientific paradigm, which is capable of fulfilling the 4 goals of science, described by Keith Webb as prediction, explanation, control, and understanding. C. Nelson, 2007, pages 261 to 268, and Webb, 1995, pages 80 to 103. Differences between the social sciences and the natural sciences. During the early stages of the development of the social sciences, there were many varied and conflicting beliefs about the relation between them and the natural sciences. On the one hand, we have those who believe that no science of anything social is possible or desirable. On the other hand, we have those who find nothing repugnant in bringing exactness, rigorous formulation, analysis, and all the rest which goes with science to bear on social inquiry. At this level of study, it is however safer for us to avoid pursuing any of these positions to the extreme. Although the social sciences claim to study human society and institutions as well as the relationship of individual members within society in a scientific manner, it has however been ascertained that there are fundamental differences between the social sciences and the natural sciences, whose method the social sciences claim to employ. Such differences can be seen in the following areas. First is in the area of their objects of study or investigation. The natural sciences are concerned mostly with inanimate objects in the natural world, and when they study man and other non-human animals, they are concerned mostly with the physiological and non-psychological components of such studies. On the other hand, the social sciences study the socio-cultural, psychological, anthropological, and economic dimensions of man and the society in which he lives. And so, while the natural sciences aim to understand and be able to explain, describe, or predict the natural phenomenon of the physical world, the social sciences, on the other hand, strives to understand and be able to explain, describe, or predict the cultural, social, political, or economic behavior of human beings. Hayder and Morford, 2004, pages 1 to 8. Another difference between the natural sciences and the social sciences can be seen in the way they deal with their objects of study. Since the social sciences deal with man and other man-made institutions and phenomena, it will be impossible to confine such to certain conditions of regularity or conformity, or to confine them to laboratories for the purpose of study, observation, or experimentation. This is because humans are sentient beings with volitions and free will, who act on the basis of intentions, reasons, and even emotions. On the other hand, the objects of study in the natural sciences, being inanimate objects, can be subjected to certain conditions of regularity or conformity, or be confined to laboratories for the purpose of study, observation, or experimentation. Even in cases where the natural sciences study animals, it is still possible to subject such to certain specified conditions. Finally, another area of difference is in their ultimate objectives and purposes of study. While the ultimate objective of the natural sciences in most cases is usually to understand the natural world better, with the purpose of controlling, subduing, and predicting events and occurrences in nature, the object of the social sciences, on the other hand, is to understand man better, with the purpose of helping him adapt to the challenges of his dynamic nature and environment. Similarities between the social sciences and the natural sciences. Given the differences enumerated above between the natural and social sciences, the tendency would be to conclude that the two disciplines are poles apart. This, however, is not the case, as there are areas where the two disciplines corroborate and share ideas. In the first place, the fact that the two disciplines share the word science, which in its Latin origin means to know, shows that they are both in search of a certain kind of knowledge. Both the natural and the social sciences have the objective of studying phenomena for the purpose of understanding, in order to be able to describe, explain, and where necessary, predict future occurrences. The natural sciences strive to study and understand objects in nature so as to be able to describe, explain, and predict natural occurrences, events, happenings, or phenomena. The social sciences, on the other hand, also try to understand general human behavior in its social, cultural, psychological, and perhaps economic dimensions, in order to be able to describe, explain, and where necessary, predict future socio-cultural occurrences and behavior of man. Again, both disciplines have in focus concrete objects of study and not just some abstract metaphysical or rarefied entities. The objects of study of the social sciences are social institutions, human beings, and societies. The natural sciences study concrete objects or events in the natural world. So both disciplines have as their objects of observation specific concrete phenomena. Kionman, 2004. For some, a relationship of the two enterprises of natural and social sciences exists at birth, since according to them, the social science was born at the time when philosophy was being given an empirical plane by the natural sciences. That is, when the natural scientists started emphasizing the importance of observation, statistics, experimentation, mathematical rigor, and so on as crucial components of the philosophical method of investigation. Furthermore, a relationship between the natural and social sciences can be seen in the area of theories of explanation shared by the two disciplines. For instance, chaos theory is a field of study in mathematics which studies the behavior of dynamical systems that are highly sensitive to initial conditions, primarily This theory was strictly used in mathematics, physics, and the natural sciences in general, but now it is also employed in the social sciences. Kellart, 1993, page 32. In the same vein, network theory, used by computer science, physics, and network science, which concerns itself with the study of graphs as a representation of either symmetric relations or, more generally, of asymmetric relations between discrete objects, is now being employed as social network theory in the social sciences. Network theory, 2011. Also, the systems theory, which swept through the natural sciences in the 1960s with cybernetics, is now being employed by the social scientists, especially in their study of societies, which they conceive also as systems. This is especially exemplified in the works of two sociologists, Talcott Parsons' action theory and Niklas Luhmann's systems theory. Furthermore, neuroscience, which was originally devoted to the scientific study of the brain, has now been appropriated by psychologists, sociologists, and even economists. Luther, 2001, pages 138 to 149. Finally, functionalism is a theory of explanation used in physics, logic, and mathematics as a way of correlating variables and for studying biological organisms and systems in biology. This theory of explanation is also used by the social sciences in their study of society on grounds of their observed similarities between biological organisms and societies. Study session summary. In this lecture, we have explained the meaning of natural science and social science and the ways philosophy is involved with both disciplines. We also examined the relationship between the natural sciences and the social sciences by looking at their differences and similarities. These became necessary because some scholars in these areas of discourse have always emphasized aspects where the two disciplines differ, thereby paying less attention to those areas where they corroborate and share ideas. End of study session 2. Thank you for listening.